This one I feel like is appropriate to film first, and that is my labor and delivery story. So, granted, this is a year later, so I'm gonna tell you from what I remember, you know, and I remember it pretty vividly. So I'll start with my due date. My due date was November 17th, 2018. So, oh, I'm sorry, not 17th, November 27th, 2018. So when the day came, I was fine, but the thing was, I didn't have a follow-up appointment set. The clinic that I went to for all my checkups was fully booked. Like, they were scheduled and I couldn't get an opening. So I wasn't really sure what I was gonna do, but they basically told me they were gonna try to fit me in a day or two, and I told them it was my due date and all that, and they were just like, please. They were just like, I'll let you, we'll call us if it's an emergency, but we'll let you know when something opens up. Like, we'll try to get you in here. So my mother-in-law, Shay's grandma, was just like, you need to just go to the hospital. So I was avoiding it for a little bit because I was like, I'm fine, like it was just a very calm day. Like, Shay wasn't moving a lot in my belly, which is a sign, you guys, that you have to go to the hospital. Like, that is very dangerous. So just a heads up before I continue on with my story. He wasn't moving, but I didn't really think much of it. I was just like, it's okay. It's just a calm morning. That's what I thought. So around, I think 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock, somewhere around that time, still early in the day, my mother-in-law was like, you just need to go to the hospital, let them know it's your due date, and tell them that how you feel, like that you don't really feel any movement. Just go in there and let them see how you are, and let them discharge you if everything is fine. So we went to the hospital, and I just told them, I went to the emergency room and I just told them, hey, today's my due date and I don't really feel the baby moving. I kind of felt like I had to say something to, like, so that they know why I was there. Ow, Shay. Hey. So basically, I went in there and they rolled me in the chair and everything. I went upstairs to my room, and when I got there, they just plugged me up and was just checking things, and then they saw that his heart rate was slow or something was wrong. Now that I forgot. They noticed something was going on, so they kept me, and they basically told me that they were going to induce me because I was already 2 centimeters, and I had been 2 centimeters for like 2 weeks. For the longest while I was pregnant, I thought I was going to be early. Like, I thought I was going to give birth before my due date, which I think now it was just like kind of wishful thinking. I had no signs of it, but I was just kind of like anxious to meet him. So I just wanted him to come earlier. But fast forward, they induced me and they had to break my water. But when they broke my water, I mean, there wasn't a lot of water coming out. I was laying in the bed, so I don't really remember feeling anything, but I remember the doctor saying like, I don't know, she was like a little iffy about it. And then, like, I feel like a lot was happening without me really knowing, because something could have been wrong. Because then she ended up taking this like stick and she poked it in me, which now to this day, I forgot what it was, but I know that when Shay was born, he had a little mark on his head, and I assumed that it was from the stick that she like shoved in me. I don't know if it's to break my water or to do something. I don't know what it was, but so I got induced. I would say, like, I think Sean got to the hospital by 5-ish. Because he was at work and I had to call him. So I think he got there like later in the evening. And I was induced. I was just going through little contractions, eating all my ice and just, just kicking it. Until it was like 3 a.m. When 3 a.m. came, my contractions hit bad. And mind you, the whole time I'm laying in bed, the nurses, every nurse that came in would ask me, are you sure you don't want an epidural? Are you sure you don't want pain meds? Are you sure you don't? Are you sure? Are you sure? They literally made me doubt my decision, So I was like, what the heck? Look at this kid. I was like, like, why are they doing that? If I'm saying no, I don't want it. So I told them I was fine. 3 o'clock hit, my contractions hit bad, bad, bad. But I remember it wasn't unbearable like when I was about to give birth, because Sean was still sleeping. He was sleeping, so I was just chilling until like from 3 to 8. I kind of lost my track of time because I was in pain at that point. With no pain meds, I went completely natural. And that was a decision that I knew I wanted, but that wasn't my birth plan, because I didn't want to have a birth plan. I didn't want for something to go wrong and it like upset me, you know, because I had a plan. Like, I just wanted to see how my body did, and I wanted to see how labor was going to be, and we'll go from there. You know, I wasn't completely against epidurals, but I did want to give birth without the epidural. So, fast forward, I think by 7 o'clock, I was exhausted. That's why I don't see how people are in labor for like 30 plus hours, because that's really sad. First of all, your body is probably over it. You're over it. Like, that's why it makes the birthing process so much harder, because you're just exhausted. So around that time, I was a little bit exhausted. I remember at one point, I asked the nurse, okay, I need pain meds. Can I get the pain meds now? And she was like, if you get it now, your son is going to be drugged up, basically. Like, when he comes out, you're going to see that he's drugged up. It's going to get to him. Like, it's not enough time in between now and when you're going to give birth. So I was just like, you know what? I already went this far without it. Like, I'll be fine. So I didn't get the pain meds. And one mistake that I did during my pregnancy was that I didn't take any of those classes, like breastfeeding class, or the I always forget how you say it. Is it Lamaze class? The breathing class, basically, for you to be able to like know the breathing techniques when you're giving birth and like during contractions, because that's the thing with contractions. Like, Sean helped me breathe when I was contracting, because he would see my contractions come before. And once this nurse came in, she basically was like, did you take the class? And I was like, no. And she's like, oh my, like, you know, like, I can tell she was like, you should have. But she's like, okay, like, she was trying to talk me through it. Imagine you're at a beach and like this and that. And I was in so much pain. And I said this in one of my videos. I will never forget this moment. When she told me to imagine myself on a beach, I couldn't even picture a beach for dear life. I was just like, I completely forgot how a beach looked like. And that's how much pain I was in. And so I didn't know how to breathe through my contractions. So Sean started helping me. He would look at the monitor, and when my contractions come, he would like instruct me to, I think, let it out, or yeah, breathe out. What, baby? What happened? Huh? Yeah. So this is how clingy he's been for the last 3 days. I'm unsure why, but he will not move further than 5 feet away from me. Okay, baby. So, yeah, he was walking me through my breathing and stuff like that, and ouch! Oh my goodness! Shay, baby. So basically, hi. After that, I was in labor for 5 hours total. By the 5th hour, I was pushing, and they had to stop me while I was pushing because Shay wasn't getting any oxygen. Again, probably because of my breathing. I didn't know how to breathe. I was actually holding my breath a lot of the time, and so they had to stop me, put an oxygen mask on, and I had to take deep breaths. And at one point, the doctor's like, okay, I couldn't get him out. Oh wait, I'm skipping a thing. I'm skipping something. So while I was contracting, they were checking how dilated I was, and I was moving up like 4, 6. I remember I stopped at 4, I think 4 or 5, and while I stopped, I mean, you just know when your body's ready to push, like when your baby is there. And I can't explain the feeling because I don't know, I just can't explain the feeling, but you know when your baby's ready to come out. It's the craziest thing. So I was like, I'm ready to push. And they were like, no, you're only 4 or 5 centimeters. Like, no, you're not ready to push. I was like, no, I am ready to push. So they told me to turn on my side. And I think that helps dilate a little bit more. I'm probably making that up. But they told me to lay on my side. And by the time they flipped me back over, within like 2 minutes later, you're joking. I'm talking. So they turned me on my side, and by the time they turned me back over, like less than 2 minutes, I was already at 10 centimeters. So that's when they were like, all right, let's push. So they started rolling everyone in. My doctor, who was a woman, that's really the only thing I planned, was for her to deliver my baby, and her shift was over at 7. So if that doesn't go to show that doctors are just regular human beings on a shift, because she was like, if you give birth after 7 o'clock, like, it's gonna be another doctor, I'm gonna have to go home, like, my shift is over. And I was just like, really? Like, really? So by 7 o'clock she was gone. I gave birth at like, the doctor came in at like 8:08, I think, and I started pushing. It was a man. That was the first time I ever seen him. He literally walked in the door and was like, I'm delivering your baby. So there's that. And he wasn't, like, we got in position. He started telling me to push, and then the whole oxygen thing happened. Like, Shay's heart started slowing down or whatever. And when that happened, it got pretty serious. So when that happened, it got pretty serious. And he basically told me, if you don't get your baby out within the next few minutes, then I'm gonna have to give you a C-section. And I was just like, I did all of this to get a C-section, like, I just went through all of this, and I didn't feel like I was maxed out yet. So I was like, I'm just not gonna opt for that, so I tried my hardest. Are you tired again? He's not feeling it lately, guys. I'm not really sure why, but this is the reality of motherhood as well. So I'm not gonna cut it out. But yeah, I was like, I am not going to just have a C-section, like, I felt like I could still do it. So he ended up, I don't know if this is TMI, but he ended up having to use scissors and like cut me so that Shay's big head could come out. And once he did that, I think within like 2-3 pushes, Shay was out and was like, he was good. And it's crazy because by the time my son came out, I think because I didn't do any pain meds or anything like that, he was wide awake. He was like eyes open within 15 minutes. He was just good. Like, I feel like I was always used to babies like sleeping for a while, and which happens if you have to have the pain meds. It happens, but yeah, my son was like awake, breastfeeding and everything. So I felt really lucky to have such an easy delivery. I feel like, even though it was hard, like I said, I just don't think I prepared myself enough for it. I could have done more, but I didn't know. And yeah, I just did like the best that I could, and he was okay. It seemed much longer than just like 5 hours of labor, but that's kind of how I measured. I technically was in the hospital for like more than 24 hours. I was there, like, if I went in at 12, let's say 11, and I didn't leave till 8, so I would stay there for like at least a day and a half, So yeah, but half of the time I was just chilling, eating my ice. That was like my favorite part. They had the best ice, and I was just chilling. And then Yeah, when the contractions hit, that was something serious. Like, man, I've never felt pain like that in my entire life. But I will say, when you're pushing, I don't think that's how it feels when you have to poop. A lot of people told me it's literally just like pooping. And I'm like, this is how it feels when you guys poop. Like, it was nothing like pooping to me. It was a lot of pressure down there, and like you know, you feel it in that same region, like in that area, but it's nothing like going to the bathroom. Like, they were telling me, or like people, I would ask for advice and people would tell me, you literally push like you're pooping, and I don't feel like that's how I was able to push. So all of that just to say, everybody's experience is different. You know, they say your pregnancy or your labor and delivery determines whether or not you will want to have another kid. A lot of people are traumatized from their experience, but yeah, maybe that's why I still want kids. I was ready for kids shortly after Shay was born. Like, I'm just that person. I don't know why, but yeah, labor and delivery was cool. It was definitely an experience, and it was crazy. Like, it was so painful. I will never again in my life say I have low pain tolerance, though. After what I went through, I will never again say I have low pain tolerance, because that's no joke. So that's my quick labor and delivery story. I hope I'm not missing anything, but that's really how fast it went, and not a lot of complications. Everything just kind of went smoothly, you know. I feel like if I would have learned how to breathe, it would have been 10 times better. But overall, it was an experience, you know. I'm not traumatized by it. I love the experience. I love being able to feel everything, and like, it was just amazing. It was amazing. It was like such a blessing to have been able to experience, that's for sure. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to film my 1-year mommy update. My son's about to be 1 on Thanksgiving, so I'm gonna go ahead and film that video in a little bit. I'll see you guys soon.